Fantastic.
There we are. Perfect. This is SOS Double Headers, episode 3. I am Donovan.
I'm Colin.
And here we are happy to have you guys. Thank you for joining us. If this is your first
in, best dressed.
God.
What?
She's trying to help me produce. No, no, she's helping me. If this is your first time watching the Doubleheader, it's a little bit different than our regular episodes. We talk a little bit less about politics, still a little bit about politics, a little bit more about pop culture and what we are doing in our off times. I believe the post that I said today, I said since radio silence, because in the first week after the podcast, we are generally pretty quiet.
No.
The week
got a lot to do, you know.
Well, and we're just taking time to chill. You know, I know that we both consume more non-political content in the off week than we do in the week up to the episode. So, like,
definitely.
We'll usually post more in the week leading up to it. So
that starts Monday.
Exactly. So, obviously, you're watching us. Just want to cover this real quick. You are obviously watching us on our Salt of the Street Instagram, and then Colin is on his Instagram at Big Bird Offie. He's also at Big Bird Offie on his Twitter. I'm at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram, and at Salt of the Street on Twitter. And you can go to saltofthestreet.com and find all this information. Salt of the Street's on YouTube, Salt of the Street's on Facebook. Fuck Facebook. And that's it. It seems almost weird to say fuck Facebook on Instagram when Facebook owns Instagram.
That's right. They own everything, so it's fine. Pretty soon you're like...
It's the little ones, you know?
Yeah. Everything's going to be Taco Bell soon, bro.
Exactly. We watch...
And points for anybody if they know what that reference is from.
Have you... I know what it's from, but I won't ruin it. I'll give that to the people. You know, you just need the electrolytes. That's all.
I was going to think more of like the 3 seashells, but.
Have you ever seen WALL-E?
WALL-E! One time, yeah.
Yeah. So we were watching WALL-E earlier.
It's pretty good.
Everything is the by and large corporation. Like they own everything, you know. So everything is by
and large.
Yes, exactly. Which is really funny. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Today.
What's popping?
Right. Let's just start with today, because today we had a great day. I have been posting some of our findings already. I don't know, findings is now.
Our findings. We're running some experiments.
Yeah, some of the stuff that we cooked up today. We went out to the range today, obviously, to a new little spot up there that I had been up to before. But
it's a good spot, man. I like it.
It's a really good spot. It's much more open. It was much easier for us to all be in there and kind of run our drills and stuff like that. So
it's so big, people feel they can turn an entire caravan of Jeep Wranglers around within our spot.
And then sit right there and watch.
Just stay there.
There's always, like, when you're out shooting, you know, there's always weird.
There's always one thing that is, like, weird that happens.
Yes.
Like every time.
Yes.
And this was one of the more weirder ones.
Well, and on our way up there, on the way up to the shooting spot, there was the people that stopped in the middle of the road to put on the chains. So we're sitting there for like 20 minutes, you know? Yeah, maybe like 15 minutes or so, just sitting waiting, because for some reason they decided to. And the spot they put into was like 10 yards ahead. Like
I know. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, so.
I couldn't even be mad because it was so funny. It was like, wait a minute, it's too comical. It was, I don't know. I mean, it's like, stop in the middle of an active road. And like, I'm just going to change my tires. I'm going to put these tire chains on. Everybody just hang out.
Yeah, like a 5-vehicle caravan, too.
Mm-hmm.
It was really weird.
Oh, and there was like 6 people, like all trying to help and chains on.
Yeah. Needless to say, we did not stop to help. We stopped to kind of talk shit amongst ourselves, and then I think we all took a piss, and then we continued on. So
it looked like we were there to help because we all got out and took a pee. And then we're like, okay, no, we assessed the situation. You guys have it in hand. We're out.
Yeah, there were so many people up there that if we would have walked up there, we would have just been like, yeah, no, you guys got this.
Really made me wonder what they were doing up there.
Who knows? Yeah,
they had all sorts of stuff in their car, too, like... It was weird.
Well,
But they were gone by the time we left, right?
Yes, and some of them were in like shorts and stuff, like basketball shorts, and then like it was snowy up there. So I don't know what they could have been doing.
Did you see that Lexus on the way up? That when we were heading out, there was like a Lexus car heading up the mountain. I was like, that's a really bad idea.
Yeah,
It's a real nice car. Don't do that.
yeah. So we were shooting today, obviously. And, ran some good drills, got some good shooting, and brought that port board. I don't really know. That's what I've been calling it, is a port board. I don't know what else to call it.
Sounds good to me.
I'm sure that there is a name for it, but that seems like
just like the thing that the hang the targets on and stuff.
No, with the different like port holes. You know?
Oh, word.
Yeah, port board. I don't know what else to.
I like it.
You know,
I like it. It fits.
Holes. Yeah, so
it's Latin. Come on, it's called a port board.
Yeah. Exactly. So you guys will see some more videos of us running some drills on that later this week.
Jacob said apparently I look really sexy with shooting the AR with my cigar in my mouth. Apparently, I look manly as fuck or something.
There's like the 2 or 3 pictures of me and you and Jake walking back from the target, and there's the one that I posted where we're all kind of like stoically faced, and you have the cigar in your mouth, you know, and I'm like taking the magazine out of the rifle. It's so perfect. Oh, it's so perfect.
Shout out to Wifey for that one, dude.
Yeah, no, that was an excellent picture. So I'm a huge fan of that one. There's a good picture of you and I like kind of standing bullshitting, and some really good pictures of Jake too. So
nice. Yeah, she did a airdrop in the car once we left. And I've just been sitting here trying to. First, it took me a minute to figure out how to go because, might as well just start here. I got a thing about Apple products, correct? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
They're closed in. This is the thing. Got all the pictures, right? I think total I had like 100 and maybe like 250 or something like that.
Yeah.
And between the ones I did with the videos and then Carolina's that she airdropped me. I'm like, sweet, I got all these things. I created an album in the phone. I was like, this would be super easy to upload. When I get home, it's not that easy to upload because fucking Apple won't let me take the pictures off of my phone. I can take about half of them on the phone. The other half just are in my phone that I can't grab for some reason. But I finally figured out how Dropbox hooked me up.
There you
so
go.
We got like 200 some that were, some of them are total, wastes and accidental shots, whatever. But we got lots of possible content to be had. lots of really cool videos and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll be spreading some of those around.
Yeah, we've already got some really good feedback on just some of the pictures that I posted. So I'm excited for more videos.
Shout out to Paul. He's out there. He wants he's talking about SOS patches, bro.
Yeah,
get on them patches.
I did a quick look into patches just for the first website I pulled up. They're trying to just rate me in the B.
Oh yeah, dude.
$13.
It's like we gotta know somebody.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try and figure out. Might try and ask at work, see if they have any hook on.
Gotta have some kind of connect somewhere, right?
Yeah. There's got to be somebody they know that's doing some type of something, because we don't even need
screen printing has ruined everything. It's made custom teat design lazy.
We could probably make them ourselves. Get Velcro from work. And just use the Cricut machine, and just put the shit on there.
That's right. That's what the thing does that.
Yeah.
We could fuck with that.
We could probably do that ourselves.
We could do this.
I'm going to talk to Tim and Dan about this because I think
fabricate our own.
Yeah.
But I think there's really something to this tactical hoodie though. We got to come up with a tactical hoodie.
A tactical hoodie.
Yeah, I put that on. I commented about that on your Instagram, bro. You would just put Molly Web. There you go. Yeah, perfect. That's done. Maybe a couple extra little tiny pouches elsewhere because it can't be tactical unless you could put 30 mags on you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, I'll take a look through Yeah, on the inside. Mags on the inside.
Yeah.
Maybe a holster, a full Kydex holster. That's just
Heck yeah.
right in there. Yeah. Well, I'll take a look through the old Sandmark catalog and see if there isn't
See if
something
we can
that
find.
fits more the tactical scheme that we're
Yeah, I
looking
feel like
for.
we might have to get a little creative on this one, but
Yeah, that's gonna be cool. I'm
yeah.
definitely excited for a patch though. I would sport a big fat one on the back of my carrier. Just a big fucking salt of the streets.
Fuck yeah.
We just
I
have
mean,
to
in the
find-
world after this, I mean, we're gonna need them to identify each other amongst the zombies.
And I thought that was such a perfect, like the picture of us like walking out of 2020. Just in play carrier. Yes, beautiful.
2020 made me buy all this shit. 2021 makes me think I have to use it.
Exactly.
It's like, ah, shit.
You talking about Apple's closed platform made me think of this. Okay, so I realized
Bitch about Apple always gets you going somewhere.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I realized that I have a slightly obsessive personality.
No.
No, it's weird, right? Because I watched the Michael Jordan documentary for the third time. And so we'll talk about that because that's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen for sure.
Yeah, and alone, I think, speaks volumes.
But I also started rewatching the Steve Jobs movie with Michael Fassbender, and this is probably the fifth time that I've watched this or so. But one of the main themes in the movie is like Steve Jobs' focus on having like a closed platform for Apple. Like when they're doing like one of the first computers, he's like, I only want, X amount of ports in it. Like I don't want people to be able to fuck with it. Like I just want to be able to plug in.
This
like,
is my baby. You can use it, but you can't touch it.
Exactly.
That's good.
And they're going to do the demo for the Macintosh, and they got to try and fix something, but you need special tools to get into the Macintosh because he doesn't want anyone to be able to open it in their house, and just insanity of so obsessed of them like, no, it's only Apple, like we're only going to work with Apple. And now, I mean, you can see that at the time he was a crazy person, but obviously he had a larger vision for what Apple has become now, that they're like, oh, you can run your whole home off of your watch because you can connect your watch to your phone. Your phone is connected to your iHome, and your iHome is connected to your lights and your fucking TV and all this other shit. And all you gotta do is walk in and say, fucking Siri, turn on my TV to channel whatever, and she's gonna do it,
Oh, yeah.
Which is
and the fucked up part is, right, like, I have a Google thing. I don't want to say it because it will hear me at some point.
Yeah.
Right. But like having some Google-based products for like essentially what would be the iHome and all that, with an iPhone, right? Apple figured out a way so that you could utilize other people's equipment, other people's stuff with their Apple products once they got away from like just the computer, but just enough so that it annoys you to use it.
Yes.
Whereas it instead of buying that fucking Google Home next time, just buy whatever the Apple crap is.
Yeah.
Because then it'll work like a dream.
Right.
Yeah, no, I get it too, man. Because it's not like their products are garbage. They're just, and they're pretty good on security, which is a nice change.
Yes. That's what I hear. That's kind of like the big selling point for Apple, is just security. Like, especially if you don't have other Apple products, we've talked about that, but like, we only have the iPhones. Like, we don't have Macs or anything. We have PCs, so it's almost like that's really the only selling point is that I know that it's more secure than another phone.
Yeah.
Is the security of it worth it if I know that I can make an Android phone more secure, you know what I'm saying? Like by using a VPN and shit like that. Like you don't need to be as concerned about.
Well, especially because the people that are going to be stealing your shit it's not necessarily Apple that's going to do it the most. I mean, there's still going to be people that are going to steal all of your personal information via the apps that you run on your Apple product.
Exactly.
So it's still going to get you. They still win in the end.
And we've seen that already.
So what are we arguing about here? This is terrible. I should just give up and just take me away, Steve Jobs.
Just give all your money to Apple.
Yeah, it's like basically becoming a Scientologist, except it's the god of Apple. You know,
just a little bit less money.
Yeah, it's Scientology, but for blue collar people.
Yeah, exactly.
For people who don't have enough money but want to look like they have money.
Apple is blue collar Scientology. I think I can get behind that.
Yeah, there we go. There's a logo that's going to go on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Then we'll get sued by both Apple and Scientologists. It would be great. Let's fame without a little controversy.
We'll just turn ourselves into a charity instead of a business, you know.
Word.
We'll just
501c3 people.
We'll just get into the 501c3 fight, and that'll go on for decades. So we'll be fine.
Oh, hard, yeah. Not to mention, we both want to do charity work anyways with the business at some point, so nobody will know. So how was your performance today overall? How do you feel? You feel pretty good about it?
I feel great about it, and that's one of the things I wrote down. Yeah, no, I feel really good about it. Especially, I'm gonna post later this week a video from when we went in August, and then I'll post another video from when we went today. And just
yes,
the difference, especially in like the reloads and the speed and transition, and the intention, like is very. The groupings, are much tighter this time around than last time we went. Like, I was watching one of the older videos. You could see like they're all within like the C zone. I was calling it,
Oh yeah, that was Charlie. That was exactly. Charlie.
So they're all within Charlie, but like this time, they were all like this.
Tight, bro. Tight.
Yeah.
And it's not like you were closer.
Yeah.
If anything, you were farther.
Yeah, they weren't one MOA or anything, but they were, certainly within an acceptable Apple-sized hole. There was the one target that I was just doing all those one reload ones on, and I only had two outside of a 3-inch wide target. From
oh yeah,
10 yards is pretty good. At sub 2-second reloads. I mean and I don't have shot time or anything, so I wasn't tracking it obviously, but they were pretty rapid. So.
Oh yeah, I mean even when you got that double, you pulled that because it was like the one, the double empty mag. Oh shit, nope, that's not gonna work. Fuck, pistoleton, let's do it.
And that's I'm excited to, I don't know, just do more stuff like that. Accidentally set myself up to have to improvise more, because the double empty magazine, I just accidentally put an empty magazine in my belt. Like I put it there and meant to reload it and then got distracted doing something else. And so when I went to run that drill, I just had 2 empty magazines, and so I had to go to one on my carrier. And I like that type of stuff. I'd like
bringing a knife to a gunfight. Jesus Christ, Donovan.
I like the movement stuff that we did today, so I'm excited to do more of that.
Yeah.
Try to build more things like the porthole, the port board. Just for anybody who doesn't know, you'll see it later, but the port board is something that I showed a picture of it earlier today, posted it in our story. It's a big piece of plywood that I cut different shaped holes in. You stand behind, someone stands behind you, calls out different numbers that correspond with different holes. You got to shoot through the holes at the targets. It's a really fun exercise.
Oh yeah, and you asshole, you cut them at all these crazy angles and shit. So it's not like you could just stand there and just go like this. No. Okay, this you got to go down to 3. It's like, oh shit, I got to shoot it like a 45 this time.
Yeah,
it makes you really think.
Yeah, one of them is a P, and some of them are straight up. But yeah, some are angles and stuff like that. And then I fucked up when I was numbering them, so like 7 is like way up above everything else. I noticed I watched the video of me doing the 1 through 11, and I totally skipped number 7. And went from 6 to 8. Yeah, I know none of us noticed at the time, but I did skip number 7. So it's
just because it was so fucking confusing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, 6 down at the bottom, and then 7 up in like the middle corner.
Oh yeah,
that's what I get.
So if I just kind of want to like jump off on this point a little bit here, based off of this. You had sent me a video, I think earlier this past week, I want to say, from Gun Snatcher.
Weapon Snatcher,
Weapon Snatcher. And then you had brought something up like that while we were shooting today and talking about, essentially what is cancel culture within the gun community, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when you sent me that video and I was listening to it talking, I'm listening to people talk about this, and it's like this past hunting season, I went through the same exact thing within like various hunting communities.
Yeah.
There is so much because with any kind of like hobby, especially with men or something like that, it's like there's a lot of ball busting and shit talking, and you don't even know what the fuck you're doing, buddy. Like, here, let me show you how to do this.
The old boys club.
Yeah, right. And it's one thing when it's between like, friends or something like that, or if when you're there in person, you're giving each other shit, and it's like, all right, well, show me what you got there, big shooter. What you got? But like even within the hunting community, I ran into this a lot online this year, just seeing people like talking shit about people like not having very good hits on animals, or like talking about a miss or this or that and the other thing. And it's like, I hate the fact that especially in these communities that are so, what's the right word I want to use? I don't want to say small, but it's like anyone that's not in the club doesn't understand what the club's all about.
Right.
Like 2A folks, like they understand. Everybody that's a 2A guy understands what the deal is, but no one on the outside of that really understands what it's like. It's the same with hunting and shit. So why is it that people feel the need to like denigrate people like that online? And I think that's probably the key.
Yeah. And I
think it's people's behavior online.
I think the online aspect of it would be the same thing that carries over most things. Would be like the essence of it, where if you and I didn't know each other, but we were in like, I don't know, a hunting lodge, we're both hunting in the same area and we're at a lodge, and you're showing your pictures, and I walk past and I see that you have a picture, but you have maybe not such a good hit on a deer, I'm much less likely to talk shit about it there in front of you, instead of asking like what happened here, like what blah blah blah, because even if I did, you're gonna say like, oh well, it wasn't ideal, like this happened, this happened, blah blah blah, but it is what it is. Whereas I can say you're a fucking idiot, that's a terrible shot, and then walk away and never even see your page ever again. So I don't even have to stay there to try and conceive of what justification might be for what happened,
Yeah.
Instead, it's just you're an idiot, or you're terrible, or you're poor. Like in the 2A
You're poor. Ow.
Well, in the 2A community, that's a big one. It's just people, like, oh well, if you're not going to spend $1,200 on this, then why even do it? And that's like why I said today, like that red dot I have is like $120 red dot, and I'm sitting there and I'm nailing fucking groups like that when I was hitting the battleship,
just fucking tight, bro.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not. I wouldn't argue that the quality in my SIG red dot is the same in like an EOTech or something like that, because it's not. The quality is different. The quality of the materials, the glass, all kinds of shit. It's different, but that doesn't mean that you can't be good with this equipment. Like just because you have a $300 hunting rifle doesn't mean you can't effectively kill an animal as somebody who has a $1,200 hunting rifle. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much skill.
It's almost like it's not the length that matters, it's how you use it. Like in another way, because at the end of the day, you buy a cheaper red dot, right? You go out, you zero your rifle, and at the end of the day, if anything, it's probably just not going to last you as long.
Right.
Like, it's probably only going to last you like 5 to 10 years than it will like 10 to 20 years.
Yeah.
And then what are we talking about, man? Now we're just like fucking poor shaming people? I thought we were all gun owners, for God's sakes. I thought we were all bitching by the fact that it costs you like $1,200 just to like actually get in the game of participating in 2A. That's what we should be mad about.
And now there's a big, like, people are splitting hairs on that, of trying to combat almost like the conversation of equality of like, it doesn't, like, let's not worry about how much money each other's rig costs. Let's just worry about the fact that we all have a rig, and let's just try and get down. And people are almost trying to combat that with like, oh, well, you can't say that your $500 gun is just as good as my $1,200 gun, because it's not. It's like, well, that's fine, but that's not the point. Is like, we're not saying they're the exact same thing.
No.
We're saying that if all you can afford is a $500 gun, then get a $500 gun and train with it and get good with it. And then because
just to be clear, $500 is not cheap.
No,
that's still a massive barrier to entry for a lot of people. So like, you get yourself that $500 gun, good for fucking you. You know what the round inside that bullet will do? The same exact fucking thing as your $1,200 fucking rifle. jackass.
And it just means that if you are
Dick measuring
come up with
contest.
a $1,200 gun one day, it's going to be that much easier for you because
Yeah.
that much nicer, you know. And
Yeah.
I only use those numbers because like $500 is a good like entry point for an AR platform. You know, like $500 is pretty, but
It'll get you going. It'll get you to the range.
like that's like mine was about that, you know. Like obviously more after tax, but was about that at sale. So, but you can also easily spend $1,000 or $1,200 or even $2,500 on an AR, you know,
Yeah.
stock one.
And a lot of that just depends on timing too. Shit, I mean,
Right.
For an AR platform, man, it could go up 100% just based off of who the fucking president is.
Right.
No laws or anything, just who the guy is. I mean, it's like the stock market.
And just because somebody, you know, you can spend $1,700 or whatever on like a Bravo company rifle, like a really good like military spec rifle, or you can spend $500 or whatever on the Diamondback that I have, and spending that extra money on a rifle is not going to inherently make you a better shooter just because you spend more money, you know. And it's not. That's such a barrier for stuff like that, and like you said, people commenting on posts and shit like that, for people messing up reloads or messing up drills or not having perfect hits on a target, and they're like, "Why would you even show this?" It's like, well, because I'm trying to learn. Like I'm trying to go, and I'm just sharing progress, like I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Where the fuck is your video, asshole? You want to show me? You want to show the whole fucking world?
Right, in that video from August, you know, I said, like, I didn't post that because I was embarrassed at the time. Like, it just didn't look good. You know, I was like, oh, like, the reload is sloppy. Like, I'm not moving very fast. Like, I just don't really want to fuck with that. Like, and I just appreciated somebody speaking out about that and not putting it with the caveat of, like, but also, you know, that gun's not as good as this one just because, you know, I just don't think that it's helpful to the cause to like add that caveat to it instead of just get what you can get and train with it and take care of it and be a good gun owner and be responsible and be good to the people around you. Like I feel like that's just a better message than that's all well and good, but it's still not as good as the rifle that I have. Like that's just not helpful, you know.
And all it does, especially in a strained community, man, in the community that's no, I don't want to go there. That's a bad analogy. In a community that is essentially surrounded by enemies on all sides that are trying to kill you, to try to take this right away, 24/7, it would behoove people to just fucking get along if you were within that community, you know, to have a little bit more understanding and not be so petty, which I guarantee you most of the people that are out there talking shit, they would just, if they were right there with you at the range, they'd kind of like go over there, but you know, talk some shit, and then they just keep going. No, they wouldn't sit out. They wouldn't come over, give you shit. They wouldn't do nothing. It's just, I just hate to see that, man, especially within the 2A community.
Yeah.
And whatever subculture of the 2A community you're in, if you're in there talking shit about how another person uses or utilizes their firearms within a firearms community, you just go fuck yourself.
Outside of a
just straight up
thing, you know.
Yeah, because that makes
someone's blatantly Muslim, and I'm not trying to like add content, but that's that's the only time I can see it acceptable to like or necessary, you know. To say,
well, at that point, it's necessary.
You fucking muzzled your homeboy right in his face, like you know, try and be more aware, or like, I didn't hear your fucking safety click off, or like didn't, you know what I'm saying, like. Watch your shit, like you know what I'm saying. You know, those aren't things that I would go on someone's video and comment about, but I can.
No, and I mean, I guess I haven't seen that much of the way of traffic, but I don't think people would pick something like that. Like
no, and that's what I'm saying.
They wouldn't, which is fun.
The only thing I can see acceptable is the only thing that I don't hear people ever comment.
Dude, so have you ever gone onto Bravo Company Manufacturing? Their website?
Yes.
Yeah.
When I first started looking at rifles, because I didn't know anything, I was like, oh, well, that's a name that I know. And then I was like, oh, holy tits, that's an expensive rifle. They're super nice. They're made of extremely high quality. And, you know, they'll last you a bajillion years.
I was going to say, I can't even find a price on anything. I was like, I hate websites that don't have prices.
Yeah.
At least I'm going to just go pick out one of their parts and say, I'm going to shop an upper right now.
I don't know that you can.
No, I'm not.
A
404.
Their website. I think you have to buy it from a shop, but you could go on Sportsman's, you know, and look up Bravo Company Manufacturing, and they'll have one of their rifles there.
I ain't about to give Sportsman any more of my money.
No,
They won't keep any. They won't keep any
need
ammo
to-
in stock, for God's sakes.
I just need to find out how much it is.
Yeah, no,
You could get one from like Tank Works, Tank Works could definitely hook you up with.
Oh, I've seen price range for like base level, like 223 caliber. Iron sights, no sights
Yeah,
for anywhere between like 5 to 1,000,
yeah,
and then from there, I mean, you see some real nice designer guns for like 15, 20K.
yeah.
Just people just making beautiful things, trying to sell them.
Oh, yeah, especially if they come with optics on them already.
Yeah, yeah.
Already has one mounted and shit that they're going to be. Because, I mean, especially hunting rifles and stuff, it's extremely common for the scopes to cost, damn near twice as much as the actual rifle.
Oh, yeah.
So that's very common. So
Yeah, if you got yourself an $800 hunting rifle, expect to pay more than that for your optics. Well, you might be able to get lucky and get like a decent thing that you can use a year, like about half the cost of your rifle. But ultimately, you're going to make that leap, and it's never going to be pretty.
It's almost a waste if you don't.
Right?
If you have a rifle that nice, it's almost a waste to not put a real nice fucking sight on.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you learn how to shoot and you get an optic that can support the specifications of the rifle that you have and the caliber you're shooting, you literally are shortchanging yourself, because you could do miraculous things with certain rifles.
Yeah.
Like my rifle, dude. The optics cost about twice as much as my rifle ultimately.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I can definitely, and I can't maybe put this thing through not even 60% of what it's capable of, just because I'm not that quality of a marksman.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough guns, I guess. My bad.
Oh.
Let's go off on guns.
Yeah, let's talk some pop culture. So
Yes.
Let's start here. The Last Dance, Michael Jordan documentary, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the third time.
Third time?
Yeah, third time. Easily one of the best documentaries that I've ever seen. I think that I cried 3 times watching it this time around. It's that good, bro.
It's that good.
There's one moment in particular that I remember. After his dad dies, they win an NBA Finals on Father's Day. And Michael Jordan and his dad were just extremely close. He was like at all the games and stuff like that. And he died. He was murdered in his car, like on some side road, sleeping. Yeah, it's like a total mystery. It's a whole thing. There were people that alleged that like Michael Jordan's gambling had something to do with his father's death. It was
the Clinton Foundation. Is that what?
It was horrible. And so then they won the NBA Finals on Father's Day, and his dad wasn't there. And, so he's standing on the court and he's talking about, how special it is and how much he misses his dad. And then the cameras follow him into the locker room, and he gets into the locker room and he like collapses, and he has his head like just kind of in his arms, and he's just sobbing, just fucking like sobbing, And
Do you see that on video?
To see any type of grown man like that, so overcome with emotion. It's a lot to handle. But especially because just not having a dad, to see somebody that upset about not having a dad was like, oh God, yeah. So there's a couple moments like that. That's like, Jesus Christ. And some that are just extremely good insights into Michael Jordan and the way that he viewed the game and the way that he played it. And there's like the end of one of the episodes where his teammates are like kind of talking about how intense he was, and like he was kind of dick, and he starts talking about it, and he's like, that's how I played the game. Like, if everyone knew that, and like if you don't want to play the game like that, then don't play like that. Don't play that way. And he starts to get emotional and starts to cry, and then he's like, break. And he gets up and he walks away from the chair, and that's when the episode ends. And you're like, good fucking Jesus. Yeah. Oh, it's so good, Colin. It's so good. I don't know shit about basketball. I don't watch basketball. This documentary, though, impeccable.
That's just because it's a human interest piece. It's not necessarily about basketball. It's about Michael Jordan, the guy.
Yes. Yeah, it's about the Bulls, but yeah, it's specifically about Michael Jordan and
Oh, it's about the Bulls, more or less.
it's
technically
about Michael Jordan and the championships that he won with the Bulls.
Oh, okay.
So it's the tale of Michael Jordan told through these 6 championships that he won with the Bulls. So.
The Vow. That's what it's called. The Vow. I got 2 things that one I just started watching and one I haven't watched yet.
Yes.
And because I don't think it's out yet. I'm doing it. It's called The Vow on HBO. It's this new documentary series, or it was a documentary series. Let me see. First episode date. Here we go. Aired August 23rd, 2020. And it's about this cult in like Hollywood or something like that would pick up a lot of very young, attractive women and like bring them into like this crazy sex cult. And then there's a whole different ring that was about dudes, and it's called what is it? The NXIVM.
NXIVM.
NXIVM. Thank you.
The one that the famous people were in.
It was all the famous people. It was Scientology before it's the other cult of Scientology.
Yes.
But I remember when I was younger, I used to love this show called Smallville.
Yes.
Right? And one of the girls from Smallville that I was absolutely in love with got hemmed up in this because she was like one of the ringleaders.
And I remember.
And apparently she's in this documentary.
I remember when she got hemmed up.
Yeah, she just dipped.
Yeah, and we just kind of like briefly spoke about it. And you're like, oh yeah, I used to watch her on fucking Smallville all the time. And I was like, oh yeah, that's crazy. And then we started to hear more and more and more about it, and tattoos and like all this shit. And I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
So that's just got added to my list, essentially. I haven't watched it yet. But, I mean, I like watching all these documentaries about cults and shit.
Yes.
Because they're so very similar. They're so very similar. And it scares me that people can be that susceptible.
Yeah.
And, like, it makes you think about other things that might be a little culty, that people are very susceptible to, that might be a little bit more mainstream than the typical cult. But anyways, so that's on my list, but it's probably not going to happen until I finish watching the HBO series from back in the day called Rome.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been all about like Rome lately, right? And the Roman Republic in particular.
Yes.
It went through
a lot about them lately.
Went through all the Dan Carlin stuff, right? And then I think last time we did this, I was listening to his like little mini series of it, 5.5 hour episode called the Celtic Holocaust. It's all about Rome. It's all about Caesar when he's on campaign in Northern Europe, fighting the Gallic people and the Celts and stuff like that. And it's right before he comes back and essentially makes himself dictator, and then boom, you got yourself the Roman Empire essentially.
Yeah.
Didn't know this, but as I put on this show and start watching it. It takes place right when that shit is happening. And it's like, oh, dude, I just heard this, and now I'm watching it, and now I'm going to fucking fact check your ass. Be careful. Not really, but it's a couple episodes in. It's really fucking good. It's really, really good.
Side note, it's almost unfortunate to learn or know a lot historically about movies or shows that you're watching that are historically based, because when something happens that is inaccurate, you're like, you motherfuckers, like, why would you change?
Hey, be honest, when Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out and talks about sci-fi movies and how, like, in Titanic, they have the wrong sky in the background because we know the day, we know the time, we know all this stuff, but you put up the wrong sky, James Cameron, what's wrong with you? So James Cameron literally goes back and changes the fucking sky in the special edition, by the way. I don't want to be Neil deGrasse Tyson, so I just enjoy it for what it is. We'll just say that much.
Well, that dude's so funny. I'll never forget.
Isn't he?
Like the BB-8 shit, just how upset people get every time he blows up on those movies. They're just like, how fucking dare you?
Outrageous.
It's a fucking movie, dude. Get over it.
I know. It's a movie. For one, Neil deGrasse Tyson, get over it. And if you're just going to do that thing because that's what you do, then everyone else just get over it because it's fine. We don't have to comment on this shit. It all leads back to the fucking internet and social media. God damn it, Donovan. What are we doing?
So I also.
Oh, and I got a new cryptocurrency. Sorry, I was
Oh,
going to
no,
introduce you
right.
that. Yeah, it's like a sub coin of Ethereum, and I made like $5 on it this week. It's
What's
pretty
it
dope.
called?
It's called OX.
Oh,
Yeah, and I guess it's. I'm still learning about it, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know what I'm talking about. But
yeah.
it made me some gains this week. It's been a great week in the crypto market. We're a little down right now across most things, but this week's been gangbusters, bro. I made like $24 this week.
My buddy Trent is deep in the crypto market right now. He's
A lot of people, man, this whole GameStop, and you just got people looking, got people interested, and it made people like me finally take the plunge on a few things, and
I would love to
it's
see.
into it. It's into it, bro. It's
I
into
would
it.
love to see the hedge funds and the billionaires and the elites lose more money. So I'm in for it. Like, that's what I want to see. Whatever is going to happen, that's going to make all those people with lots of money have less money.
And the rest
I'm
of those
down.
plebs have more money.
Yes, that's what I
Well,
want. I would like a completely free market redistribution of wealth that is based completely on people's willingness to try and take risks in the market. I don't think that
uh,
that's too much to ask for
so
because
this
the
is all
elites.
stuff I think we should just practice real quick for when we talk to the man, the legend himself, local celebrity Larry Dixon. I was talking to my buddy Jay Hines earlier, right? He's a prior coastie buddy and all this stuff.
Man, buddy.
He listens to the show or stuff like that. We're just shooting the shit, and he's excited for Larry Dixon to come on.
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, I can't. I have so many things that I want to talk about with Larry Dixon. It's like I'm pretty sure
Get asked a lot of
he's
questions.
gone from like Larry the tax guy to like Larry the expert on the economy for Salt of the Streets reporting.
Expert
I,
economist.
yes, because I need other people to bounce these ideas off of and these thoughts about like GameStop and like the fact that you just brought up the fact that these elites and whatever these hedge funds losing money and shit like that. Because recently, after this kind of dove off, right? You heard things about Dogecoin, right? And you got to
Yeah.
buy Dogecoin. There's gonna be a run on Dogecoin. Everybody fucking stop for a second, right? Dogecoin is a fucking joke that became legit, right? Understand it. Like it is a legit security. It is a cryptocurrency that I wholly endorse. I'm a big fan of the whole situation, right?
Yeah.
If you put a run on Dogecoin, you know how many of those fucking hedge funds are going to lose money? Fucking none of them.
Zero.
It'll just be the rest of the people that get caught up in the rush. Like I can't stand any of this stuff. If people want to like push the elites and shit like that, it's going after like those not penny stock. It's the companies that aren't doing so well. It's the fucking J.C. Penney's and the Sears, the old department store things. It's
Yeah.
GameStop. It's movie theaters. It's that shit.
The shit that's
It's
shorted.
yeah. It's the stuff that the institutions are pushing away from our economy because of the pandemic and all that stuff. They're not viable anymore. Rick and Morty. What
Brick
about
and
Rick and
mortar.
Morty? Brick and mortar. Brick and mortar.
Brick and
Yeah,
mortar.
I mean, some, but not all. The
All
ones that we like, we keep here. Like the Dick's Sporting Goods, they get to
Toys
stick
R
around.
Us.
But we don't like Toys R Us. We don't like that because Amazon just makes more money that way. I don't know, but I hate people. I hate to see this because I've seen this so much lately. It's like the crypto game is for it's for everyone that isn't like an elitist hedge fund manager.
Yeah.
The crypto market is for everyone that is not, has not, will not, and never ever wants to see, the old financial institutions maintain their power because they've abused it for so long.
Yeah.
But that's like I hate to see that run on the Dogecoin thing. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it, people.
Don't do it.
You guys, that's not how this whole system works. If you want to take down the man, take down the man. Don't take down your own fellow fucking Redditors. I don't know. But I'm going to ask Larry about that one a little bit because I want to know if there's any merit to that situation.
As it does, and we'll talk about this more later, but as it does, as soon as the GameStop thing happened and everyone knew about, Wall Street bets on Reddit and everything, then there's people on the internet who are pretending to be on Wall Street bets that are saying, "Oh, there's going to be a run on this, so they can make money," you know. So we've seen all types of that kinds of shit, and so
that's what I was thinking. Doge was.
Yeah, well, and it's possible, you know. There's been,
but we'll never know who.
There's been speculation on the same thing with the silver market. You know, that like, the run on silver has been an artificial thing. Like the government or the hedge funds or whoever buying a bunch of silver to try and bolster their hedge bets. You know, no pun intended against the shortings and stuff they had with GameStop, just to try and cover their ass.
Yeah, and who owns silver, Donovan? Who owns silver? Because you think more well-to-do people or whatever they buy gold, right? Everybody buys gold. You know, people that buy silver are the people that can't afford to buy fucking gold. It's us normal folks. It's the people that are buying a precious metal with the little money they have. Exactly. Give me, I know some people that have bags of silver in these little velour bags. They're very beautiful, but it's because they're kind of prepper people. They're like preppers and shit, and so they buy silver. If you run silver, you know who's going to lose? The rest of us.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. The people that believe in this like wholehearted conspiracy shit about it, because there's a whole conspiracy about like the government is the one behind it, like you said. Does that not seem crazy to you? Yeah. You know, I mean, the government has holdings in precious metals too. I mean, for God's sakes, people.
Honestly, if I were to receive a confirmed report, you know, that X amount of people in the government invested heavily in silver, and that's what led to this, I would not be like, I can't fucking believe it. Like, whoa! Add that one to the list of, 2020 still carrying over into 2021 because what the fuck? Like,
oh, yeah. Corruption doesn't know a date. It doesn't give a shit if it's 2020 or 2021. Nancy Pelosi is still going to have her expensive ass ice creams in her freezer.
Certainly does begin to beg the question, you know, the more and more bold and apparent it becomes, as it was with GameStop and as we talked about with like Tesla and stuff with the new contracts being announced or the new green plans being rolled out, and then like Nancy Pelosi's husband buying $1 million of Tesla stock. You know what I'm saying? Like as things like this become more and more upfront and less hidden, it's just like how long will this continue? How long
is it going to go
before regular people are finally like, enough? We're not going to elect you anymore because you're here. Like, how long will the constituents in San Francisco continue to elect Nancy Pelosi? You know, how long will we continue to choose leaders that are showing us repeatedly over and over again that they don't actually give a fuck about what happens to us as individuals or as families or households or even as groups of constituents? They care about getting the correct amount of votes for them to be able to stay where they're at and not have to find a new job afterwards in some type of private sector somewhere.
Yeah.
It's shocking that we can, I hate to use the word shocking because I use it all the time, but it's like, I'm not really shocked. It's almost just frustrating that we're sitting here and I don't know, not that we're like, nobody's listening to us. We're sitting here telling people like, this isn't us being crazy. We're telling you that they're showing you that they don't give a fuck. Don't reelect these people. Like, don't give them your support. Don't thank them $600 when they fucking strung you along for a year when you didn't have a job. You know what I'm saying? And don't thank them for that. Like, they don't deserve a thank you for not taking care of you. Like, that's not how this should work, you know? They don't deserve a thank you for taking your rights away, from making you stay in your house and not letting you work and not letting you do anything or make decisions for yourself or do anything like that.
While they do the complete opposite.
Do whatever.
That's the big kicker. And I think that's probably one of the best things that's come out of like the lockdown situations all around. You know, it's not the protests and some of that. It's just that it's when they did get caught, because most of them did get caught at some point.
Right.
Going against their own rules.
The worst ones.
Yeah.
Lori Lightfoot, Pelosi, Gavin Newsom, all of the worst ones. All got
Who was the guy that was like, don't travel anywhere, but like he was down in Cabo?
That was like
he was like a governor or something, right?
Yes, yeah, it was a governor. Maybe like Ohio or something. Someone random. And then several governors did it. Several governors. There was one politician who even set up scheduled tweets to come out while he was gone and went on vacation somewhere else. So he wasn't even at home, but his account is tweeting about like, oh, we all have to stay at home in this time and like make sacrifices while he's not even at his house.
Oh,
but his
man.
account is spitting out scheduled tweets. Yeah, no, we saw these things, and we talked about it the first time. We compared it to the BP episode of South Park.
That's right.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
Sorry. When it's, nothing happens in the end. They just drill another hole on the other side of the earth. Like, it's, we saw it with the ice cream with Pelosi.
And she's still Speaker of the House.
Gavin Newsom eating. And then we've seen it as recently as in the last episode. We talked about Nancy Pelosi beginning to push forward the talks of gun legislation when were just, their lives were just defended by Secret Service and Capitol Police officers who were armed in the Capitol. Like, these things were just happening, and now you're telling people that they don't deserve to be protected by firearms. They don't deserve to protect their own lives with firearms, but your life deserves to be defended with a firearm.
Oh, yeah.
Because your life is important enough,
Good old HR 127, baby.
But instead, that's not what people are taking from it. They're more focused on the fact that, Marjorie Taylor Greene is terrible, and she is the enemy within. She is horrible. Not,
We do need to have permanent policing.
Exactly.
We do need to have a military.
We do need
Still there.
A permanent, fencing structure around the Capitol. Permanent, even though, this is all terrible and it's not going to work.
Now, that was one thing I asked you earlier this week, too, that I was going to ask you tonight, was regarding
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, right? And I don't want to use her
For those
specifically.
that don't know, okay. Well, I was just going to tell everyone, for those that don't know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a representative who, in the past, where's she from? Texas?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, representative from Georgia. Okay,
so Marjorie Taylor Greene was a representative, Republican. She, in the past, has, on the internet, I'm not minimizing it or making a big deal of it or whatever, but the reality of it is she said some shit on the internet in the past about QAnon and questioning school shootings and the reality of whether or not they existed or whatever.
She's done some pretty heinous shit,
certainly,
especially in the past.
I'm not minimizing it. I'm just not trying to dive deep into the details of what happened. I don't really care. She's not my representative. Don't agree with anything she said, obviously, but it's no fucking skin on my back. But so she said a bunch of shit in the past that's really not very good. It came out when she became representative. She was a big stop the steal person and all this shit. And so her committee assignments were just stripped from her by a vote in the House of all Democrats, Republicans. There was a few that voted with them. I think 10, something like that.
And generally speaking, stuff like that, if it's whoever's house it's in, will clean house.
Inter-party.
But and like I said, that doesn't even really her specific case doesn't really affect the question too much, right? So that background right there is perfect.
Yeah,
because it's somebody that at the end of the day probably isn't the best person to be hanging out and representing a good portion of America, right?
Yeah.
What do you do if you're one of those people that live in her district? If essentially your representative gets up there, gets censured, gets shut down, gets possibly expelled from Congress, what does that say to the voters of that district? Oops, well, there was a flaw in the system, we got to do this again? Or is this the United States Congress saying your views, if they were aptly represented here by this congressperson, do not belong in our body? You need to go away.
I don't think, and I don't know for sure, but I don't think that most people knew about these things when she was elected. They knew that she was very conservative and that she was on, all these trains and shit. But I don't know that they knew the extent of her past. I know that when she was elected, there was discussion of her being, a proponent of QAnon. I know that was a thing, but I don't know. So for me, it would depend on that. If the vast majority of her constituents knew about these things in the past and still elected her, then I don't necessarily think that it's Congress's decision to tell her and her constituents that she doesn't get to really have a say in anything that happens. You can vote if something comes on the floor, but you don't get to talk about it. You don't get to really do anything. You just get to talk about it once it gets to the floor, maybe, and then
Yeah, right. No backroom deals, no nothing. You just
right
whatever happens on the public floor, you can vote on just like everyone else. But other than that, you're out.
When Steve King, like when there was all the heat around Steve King for making those racist comments, he wasn't kicked out. They just stripped him of his committee assignments, and then
Kind of like, go sit in your corner.
And then he lost in the midterms because he didn't have any service to his constituents anymore. So I would imagine
he had no public support either, no party support at that point.
Right. So I would imagine this is just the Democrats' way to try and force the hand of the public to get her out of Congress. But we're in such divided time that I don't know that this is going to work like they think that it's going to, and how long can you allow a representative, if she gets elected 4 times, are you going to let her sit in Congress for 8 years and not do a fucking thing because you don't like things that she said in the past? Like, is that really what we're going to do?
At that point, that should speak to a deeper problem.
That's what I'm saying. And so
because it struck me, like, I get it, like with her, in her case, I get it with the Steve King case. Like, I get it. But, like, all these, you got every Democrat out there screaming, expel her, expel Tom Cruise, or, oh my God, Tom Cruise, Ted Cruz.
Tom Cruise.
Expel all of these people, right? And I just try to think, like, I have my own thoughts about all these different people, and I try to remove the personality from it and kind of go to that, okay, so I don't want to take the time to build that analogy, but like the tool that these people are, they are a tool of the public, right? They are there to put into practice what is, the public's doing, essentially, right? Real base. That's what a politician's job is, right? So, like, when the rest of the politicians decide that one politician doesn't get to be there anymore because we don't like her, we don't like the things that they say, we don't like the things they stand for, still elected. I mean, at what point does the rest of the country's representatives decide that your representation, like it or not, for the 14th district of Georgia does not belong here? Your views do not get to be brought to this house.
Right.
If you're talking about expelling, I guess, in the worst case scenario.
And I think I believe that they can vote to expel her. I think. I honestly
like the Congress as a body.
Yes. But
and I'm pretty sure that's one of them. You need them, the like 3/4 majority or 2/3, something pretty strong.
That piece, right?
Yeah.
Which is not going to happen. And you also, her constituents can vote to recall her. Like, somebody just has to start that process in the district,
which is incredibly difficult. Yeah,
bureaucratically, I believe there's like a vote and everything that has to happen, or like a city count. There's something that has to happen. Obviously, a whole process in order for it to be recalled. And then at that point, you also have to have a special election. You have to have an entire new election before the midterms even happen. So I mean, there's like,
and you do that for about 4 or 5 cycles, and you got an entire voting district doesn't get to say shit on the federal level until they get their shit figured out. And they're kind of weird to think that might be a possibility.
I'm unsure on whether or not, like, if she's recalled or expelled. I don't know if that prohibits her from running again. So say she gets recalled or expelled, runs the following term, and then wins again and goes back to Congress. Then what? Do you just not give her any committee assignment? Like, what do you do?
Like, how did you get back here? Get back in your corner.
And people are not going to like this, but it begs the comparison of something we've talked about in the past of Ilhan Omar, right? The sets of statements are not identical, but they certainly bear along the line of intolerance, certainly along the same lines of intolerance that...
I mean, we looked it up before. By the State Department's own definition, what she said at that point was anti-Semitic.
And when that was still defended, even at the time that they're passing, the non-binding resolution of like, we don't approve of people
Of
saying
hate.
shitty things,
Period.
exactly.
Hate is bad.
Exactly. But
Did we
then
cover
that
our bases?
still, yeah. And even at that time, that was around the same time as Steve King, and the Republicans were like, fine, then we're going to take Steve King out. But what's up with Ilhan Omar? And the Democrats were like, no, fuck you. She's staying, She's still out there front and center, still talking about, she was one of the people, I believe, that signed on to the letter of like reoccurring $2,000 checks for the length of the pandemic. She, I believe, also helped champion the $15 an hour minimum wage. So like Ilhan Omar, front and center of the Democratic Party, probably in line for some type of leadership position in the next couple of years or next couple of years if she doesn't go anywhere. Now we're not even going to allow a freshman congressman to come in and try and adjust something or do anything because we don't like things that she said before she was even a representative. And again, I'm not defending what she said, what Margaret Taylor Greene said, because I don't agree with what she said. But if we're talking about things that representatives have said in the past and whether or not, it is befitting of people who are currently holding office. Ilhan Omar was in office when she was saying shit that was anti-Semitic. When you had people, actual Jewish people, actively telling you, I believe and feel in my soul that this is anti-Semitic, and the Democrats are telling them, no, it's not your fault.
It's not.
It's not. You just must not understand what she's saying,
Just because you don't agree, you're offended by what she said, it just means that you don't understand what she said. She didn't actually mean for you to take it that way.
Right.
So she's sorry you got offended by what she said, but she stands by her words. I heard this shit again the other day on Shapiro, and it really bothered me. Because I'm essentially what this is kind of driving at then essentially is we have people problems in Congress.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I feel like we all kind of need to remember to take a step back, and that like the people that got elected, that came to this office, aren't necessarily supposed to be, like the person, the full embodiment of that district or what they represent or anything. This is the person who should go there with essentially should be viewed as like a federal clean slate, don't you think? Yeah. In a way, and then their actions once they get there based off of what they do within the body of Congress. Then they should be judged that way.
Certainly within some type of time frame,
Right.
You
could be a shitty person and we can find out skeletons in your closet and all this stuff, but at the same time, motherfucker, you got elected, I get it. We don't like you. We think you're whatever, and we're going to censure you. We're not going to give you committee assignments, but expulsion from Congress.
Right. And that's not to say that you can do whatever you want and then clean up your act and then run for Congress, right? Because like you said, people are still going to find out it's going to be whatever. But if 6 months prior to your run for Congress, you stop fucking around or doing whatever, and then you're on the straight and narrow, and then you run for Congress and you make it, and the whole entire time that you're in Congress, you don't do anything untoward.
Toward?
Right.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, let's go with that. Untold?
Not good,
Don't be bad.
What am I supposed to, what do I make of that? Am I supposed to, I don't know, do all of the good things you did over your 6 years in Congress, are they immediately wiped away because you were like a horrible piece of shit beforehand? Do these things not count, even though you, by all accounts, were a totally legitimate person during your time in Congress? And this is obviously a deeply hypothetical conversation,
and that's kind of why I wanted to have it. I thought it'd be kind of fun. Like, even that being said, right?
Yeah.
Even if they are like a bad person, right? They still get elected as if the recall stuff doesn't happen from back home, and they stand by their person. All right, we'll just shut them up and let them go sit in the corner. They can vote when everyone else votes. But other than that, meh. I just don't like that there's been a lot of expulsion talk lately.
Yeah.
A lot of expulsion talk. And I just think that's something we should put out of everybody's mind, because the last thing we want is, in my mind, for a bare majority of Congress to just start deciding that your Congress people don't belong there because of the wrong person.
Right, right.
And even when, you got a perfect, more or less crystal clear case of somebody that has said some very untoward, I looked it up, untoward, TOWARD. We maybe should just understand that even if somebody that is a total piece of shit does get elected, within 2 years, their term's up. I mean, how much harm can they do? Don't put them on committees, let them do whatever, and we move on. We can all hate them together. It'll be great. They'll be a pariah of Congress.
Yeah.
But don't be expelling people, bro. That starts gulags and lists, and we got enough of that talk already. The last thing we need is to actually start expelling congressional members
because
that are duly elected.
Opens a fucking can of worms.
Yeah, it does, man.
Whichever party is in power is going to be deciding who gets to stay and who doesn't. Kicking people out of the opposing party that they don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be,
and that's what's so scary about that.
It's teaming up with moderate Democrats to kick out progressive Democrats so that the moderates can regain control of their own party. Yeah, that's no good. That's just going to be a back and forth thing, and that will happen. It will force so many special elections in so many areas. People will get tired of voting. They're sick of voting over
disenfranchised with the whole system.
Yeah, people will just stop voting. They'll just continue to get ballots in the mail, and this is like a horrible, very nihilistic view. But I can see that, if Congress is left to its own devices, for them to continue to do whatever they want, as we already discussed, they are doing. They're not. The people in Congress are not truly thinking about what is best for the people of Georgia and whatever district Marjorie Taylor Greene represents, because whatever's best for them is to fucking leave them to their own devices. And if they want her to be there, then they want her to be there. Give her the slap on the wrist that you did. No fucking committee assignments for you. If you win re-election in 2 years, then let's go ahead and give it a try, because you're obviously here for the long haul, or at least for the time being. So let's just...
At some point in our history, the Congress was built up of approximately 50-50 of people that believed in slavery and people that didn't.
Yes.
I think we can figure some shit out.
We can
all I'm saying.
Especially, and she could very well be lying, but what I heard of her statements when Marjorie Taylor Greene is addressing the stuff she said, especially surrounding QAnon, she's like, I don't believe in this anymore. And
it got me.
I don't know whether or not that's true. I don't know her as a person. I can't attest to that. I will give her the benefit of the doubt because she's a newly elected member of Congress. I don't have any reason as of now to believe that she's going to openly lie while she's trying to keep her job in Congress. But we had a whole episode talking about conspiracy theories and Pizzagate and all that shit, and fleshing out the things that are legitimate and the things that are definitely not the things that could be. We had 3 hours talking about that, So it's not like it's impossible for a totally reasonably minded person to just be deceived online and start to believe something that isn't real.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Especially in the era of in the age of the internet. That's a very realistic thing to happen. So I wouldn't. She owns 2 different very successful businesses. She had started them herself. There's obviously something to what she's doing. She's not a complete fucking psychopath, because she's leading a very successful life up until now. She was just elected to fucking Congress in the United States. She's doing something right.
Not that many people get that job.
And again, I'm not defending the things that she said because they're fucked up, but there's some value to what she holds here. And if we're in an age where people are losing their small businesses and the people who work in Congress are increasingly lifetime politicians and haven't had real jobs, then it probably benefits us to have somebody in Congress who owns 2 small businesses and started them themselves, especially when we're talking about stimulus packages upwards of $1, $2, $3 trillion, and where that money is going to go, because the last time we signed a bill like this, half of it went around the fucking globe.
Yep. And the rest of it didn't get to you anyways.
So I, again, for the 90th time,
Peanuts.
don't agree with what Marjorie Taylor Greene said in the past, right? But I
Yeah.
believe that there is probably some value to having a successful small business owner in Congress in the time where we're trying to save people small businesses.
That's right. Nothing she
value.
says will be anything but hate speech, Donovan.
Especially,
and we all know
on, like,
that.
the fucking business committee or something like that. Like, she was on, like, the
Yeah.
education and business committee. Like,
Yeah.
fucking kick her off the education committee. Like, she owns 2 successful small businesses.
Yeah, right? How
Someone,
many of the rest of you fuckers have done that shit?
that's
None.
what I'm saying. Like, there is
Not many.
yeah. Can you truly argue, not you, but is there truly a member of the Democratic Party that can make an actual legitimate argument and convince me that she has no value to Congress or America at this time? No. I don't think that you can.
No.
I would pay $100 to any, right here, anybody watching it, any staff of anything. I'll pay you $100 if your representative, your senator, can convince me that Marjorie Taylor Greene has no benefit to the American Congress as it sits today. I'll give you $100 out of my pocket. Anybody right now. And I don't even fucking like her. You still can't convince me. You still can't convince me.
You still can't do it.
No.
And yeah, it's really funny because, how many of those people out there can say they actually run successful small businesses?
Right.
And, like, you hate to give her the W, but, that's what she's got going on.
You hate to see it.
Most of those people can get out of Congress and start their own company and make a killing.
Yes.
Now that they've been in, because they know how to do that and they know the system, and then all you got to do is just you become a consultant or a lobbyist. Done.
I was going to say, just step into the private sector.
Yeah, the private sector. They call it the private sector. It's the private sector of government.
They don't even need to change addresses or get a different security clearance. Their badge just fucking says something different the next day when they show up to the fucking Capitol.
Or to one of the adjacent buildings around the Capitol complex, we should say.
One of the unconnected from the from above ground.
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, that was healthy. Thank you. I just needed to talk about that.
No, absolutely.
I really wanted to try to stay away from Marjorie Taylor Greene because she is so radioactive right now.
Yeah.
But her case is the freshest. Steve King is kind of the only other reach that I kind of got was Al Franken, because they did really drum his ass out really, really quick.
Yes, they did.
And you tell me they don't have buyer's remorse for that. I don't know if I'd believe you. So there's just been a lot of this lately, and I think it's something we got to stop. None of this. It's not your representative. It's not your representative. If you got a serious problem with Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG,
right,
write to your representative about it. Then your representative will go up there and make a big old stank.
Well, and especially right now, there's nothing to stop the Democratic or Republican Party from dropping just a buttload of money in Georgia in her district on ads, just slandering her about what a horrible piece of shit she is and how terrible she is for Maryland. There's nothing to stop.
It's over, dude. It's over.
And so
she'll be lucky to get her first term in, and then she's done.
That's what I'm saying. Is that's what I really don't get. There's nothing to stop you from doing that. And then if you get, there are enough weird, oddly politically active people everywhere that you can drum up, the 1,000 signatures or whatever you need to get the petition going to recall her, because so many people are inflamed about what she said about QAnon or, killing a member of Congress or something.
Well, hey, for a little bit of fun, if you want some lighthearted, semi-political entertainment in your life, I recently came across this amazing Twitter follow. Her name's Shoe on Head.
Words.
Have you heard of this person?
Yes, she just did her first interview on Rising last week, actually.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
Oh, I gotta go back and try to watch that.
So I just heard of her last week because she did a video on the day of the Capitol riots.
Yes, and I watched the video of her the day of the Capitol riots like that. I watched that video. I was like, oh, I like this chick. She seems kind of funny. She seemed like kind of a Bernie chick. you know, but hardcore libertarian. Big fan of finding out more of these types of people. My my podcast list gets really short if I just go with the people that I really like.
Yeah.
And I need people like her in there just to, even though I don't agree with her on probably about half, she's still entertaining. She's still got a lot of good points. Highly recommend. I just wish she made more content.
I believe that she's pretty new.
Yeah.
I think that she still has like a day job and shit, but I don't know for sure.
Imagine that.
I know, super weird, right?
Oh, a word.
Anything else that you want to get into this doubleheader here?
No, I think I'm toasty, baby.
Baby show of the week: Moana, Toy Story, Ratatouille. It's been a big
Ratatouille's a great film. I love that movie.
I put on Ratatouille last week just because I was tired of watching the same things over and over again. So I was like, let me just try something else. And
sorry, Dex. I win now.
Said no for a couple of minutes, and then he was into it, and now he's big into Ratatouille. So, yeah.
Good call. Good call. Everybody should watch Ratatouille. It's great.
The old school Toy Story, the OGs. So,
OG? Nice.
OG Toy Story. So that's been good.
I got some more, because I haven't been watching too much lately. I've been reading more. I've been watching a little bit of that Rome stuff, but I got some more mangas.
Okay.
My Gundam.
Word.
Some more just came in today. Super excited about it. I swung by the office on the way back from shooting today. Picked some more up at the office. So I got some light reading to do tonight.
I have like maybe 30 pages left in the book that I was reading. What's that guy's name? Lauren Culp. Lauren Culp book. I thought it was like 60 pages, but the last like 30 pages are an appendix, and it's the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights.
So it's like an essay, essentially.
What a fucking just about of like.
You want a good book?
Book just a little bit longer.
Read Ben Sass's book.
Ben
Sass is good. I think he's just got the one, but it's all about like hard work and sending his kids to go work on a farm and stuff, growing up and all that. You learn some more about Ben Sass, bro. You're gonna like.
Do you have his book or just on audio?
I have the audiobook, and the audiobook he reads himself, which is actually really nice.
He has really good voice. Ben Sass
he does.
has good voice.
And most of the time, he has smart things that come out of his mouth when he talks in Congress.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of that Nebraska boy.
I always agree with him, but especially when talking about like procedural things and constitution, like the way that things were designed to run. I'm like, thank God somebody finally still gives a shit about how this is supposed to go.
Yeah.
Because way too often do we, even on Rising, you hear people like Crystal Ball talk about like, Republicans are always so stuck on procedures and, steps and processes and how things are supposed to go.
Yeah. Somebody fucking needs to, Crystal, for God's sake.
Somebody laid out explicitly how this process was supposed to fucking go. So when I see you not following the process, I fucking bitch about it. Excuse the fuck out of me.
This whole thing, it's like in the founding documents. There's the steps that we go through. We don't care about those. No, okay, got it, cool.
It's one thing when you're talking about like impeachment, when they're like high crimes and misdemeanors. Like, we don't really know what this means. But, like, that's different. That was purposefully left up to interpretation. When they're laying out for you explicitly the way that something is to be done, fucking do it the way that they said to do it. That's how it's supposed to be done.
What a novel concept.
Yeah, that's not a ludicrous idea, or like it certainly shouldn't be a uniquely conservative concept to follow the rules of the way that things are written in the founding fucking documents.
Well, we'll see how that goes over the next 3.5 years.
Well, with that, if you want to hear us talk more about the way that the country should be run, procedures and things like that, we talk a lot about things like that on our Twitter. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both of those things. You can find all of this on saltofthestreets.com. We obviously have our Salt of the Streets Instagram, Facebook at Salt of the Streets, YouTube at Salt of the Streets. I already said it, but saltofthestreets.com for everything. You can find our podcast anywhere that you can get a podcast and all of our videos on YouTube, Salt of the Streets. I have to remember how to end this live video. Oh, it's the end. With that, everybody have a fantastic weekend. Doubleheader, episode 3.
Double header.
Blah, 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 blah. Look out next weekend for episode 103, 102,
102, featuring
102.
none other than
Pete Dixon, Larry the Tax Man. Peace, everybody.